haven't clapped yet. What's in the episode's mute? Because I haven't clapped. There you go. It's clapped now. I've clapped now. I've done my shutters. Anyway, while the cameraman goes to the toilet.
Listen, crew need breaks as well.
Crew does need breaks.
I'm going to unionise, guys.
Usually the crew has their breaks, you know, probably about halfway through the episode. Hi, and welcome back to the Actors Waiting Room podcast. And I hope you've had a good week. I hope it's been sunny, to be honest. It's been lovely. It's been really nice weather. I really don't know how long it's going to last, but I am thriving. I love it. The fact that the evenings are lighter and everything like that, it's given me so much life after the winter, because I was feeling so sluggish and just not motivated at all. So I'm looking at the sky right now and it's insane. It's gorgeous and I love it. So I hope you've had a good week. I don't know. I feel like I was going to start off by saying like, what colour do I feel like today? You know, like when, if you've ever been in rehearsal, or, I mean, you probably did it at drama school or an acting class where the, I don't know, director or teacher, lecturer, whatever, was like, describe how you feel with a colour today, or describe how you feel. I've had one where they're like, describe how you feel like as a dessert. And that was quite fun. But maybe I'm not going to do that. Should I think of a colour? Okay, the colour I'm thinking of is... I'm going to go with yellow, but I think that's really basic because I'm looking at the sky and it's really sunny and I've just talked about how sunny it is. But, you know, each their own. So I feel like yellow. That is the most artiest, wankiest thing I think I've said in a really long time. But I actually do feel quite like creative at the moment. I've managed to be able to go and see a lot of great theatre recently. And like, there's also been some really good series on Netflix as well. Like, obviously everyone's talking about adolescence, as they rightly should. And I kind of now have a new obsession with Erin. Is it Doherty? I don't know if it's Doherty or Doherty. I think it's Doherty. Who knows? Someone can correct me. But basically the one that plays like the family therapist in Adolescence, if you've seen it. And there's that really, really long scene where she's basically just interviewing and assessing the main boy in it. And she's incredible. And I mean, I did watch her in The Crown and stuff like that, but I don't know. She's kind of like my new obsession. And I went to go see The Unicorn, which I've mentioned previously, like a couple of weeks ago now. And she was fantastic in that as well. And I mean, it was a really, really good show. I don't know why. There's been a little bit of controversy about it, but I really don't know why, because I think it was really, really good. But yeah, I was lucky enough to see that. I went to go see The Seagull recently, which has a fat cast, like a really fat cast. I mean, like, obviously I knew I was going to go watch Cate Blanchett, but there's just so many other great names in it, like, as well. And I also thought Tanya Reynolds was fantastic, like really, really good as well. Like, I mean, they were all great. They were all really, really good. But yeah, and then I went to go see Richard II as well. And yeah, I've just been very lucky to see some really good theatre recently. And I haven't been able to go see some theatre in a while because it's been... Well, theatre tickets are crazy at the moment. They're so expensive. And the only real reason why I've been able to go see so many great shows is because at Christmas, everyone was like, what do you want? And I was like, just some theatre tickets, please. Because I haven't managed to see like some real live theatre in a really long time. And so that's kind of given me like a bit of a creative boost actually recently, which is really nice to see and to feel as well, because sometimes you get in a bit of a slog where you're like, I just don't feel very creative at the moment. But yeah, that and some good TV shows have set me right on track. So thrilled about that. Anyway, we should probably get into the episode a bit more rather than me blanting on about theatre. I also want to mention as well, it's been a really exciting past couple of weeks because the podcast on Instagram has reached over 1,000 followers. What? Like, that's crazy. And I'm so... Yeah, like, I know loads of people are like, it's 1,000, Grace, like, get over, like, you know, don't big whoop. But it's such a big deal to me. And I'm so grateful that we've reached over 1,000 on Instagram. And I can't believe it. When we hit like 1,000 people, I was like, what the hell? Like 1,000 people want to tune in to this waffle and about the industry. And so like a big thank you to anyone who's followed. And if you're listening to this and you aren't following the Instagram account or the TikTok account, I mean, the TikTok account's got a long way to go. I'm not going to lie. We're at about, nearly 300 followers now. But yeah, the Instagram account came first. So that's probably why it's a little bit further along. But yeah, so pleased about that. And we are also on YouTube now. Very, very recently we're on YouTube. We have, for total transparency, we have 10 subscribers, I think. But I just thought, well, because we're filming all this stuff anyway, it might as well go somewhere rather than just me using clips for social media. So if you prefer, like video content more than just listening, head over to YouTube and subscribe and watch and give it a like if you like it. But anyway, I've waffled on long enough. Let's get into the episode. Okay, so this week we are going to be talking about all the things that, how do we phrase this without sounding really negative? All the things that I think maybe I should have done, or all the things that I have learnt that I wish I knew when I was probably about 19, trying to start out in this industry, head to drama school and all that stuff. I mean, I'm 27 now, and yeah, there's been a big sort of, there's obviously going to be progress there, but there's a lot of things that I've learned about myself and about this industry that, I think it's worth sharing. Again, I want to humanize this weird and wonderful industry, and this hopefully is going to go towards that. So rather than just looking back and going, these are all the mistakes I made, which some of them are mistakes, some of them aren't, but hopefully this gives a little insight into what the journey was like for me. And also anyone who's not an actor or creative and is just listening in for the ride, come and laugh at what I did, and we'll try and go from there. Oh my God, that tea's really, really hot. So these are things that I have learned as well, but I did ask my partner this morning what he has learned from the industry as well. And so they're a combined mix of my things of what I've learned and a few things of what he's learned. So the first one is choosing the right project. Now, when everyone graduates, or maybe you haven't gone to drama school and you're just starting out in the industry, there's this general consensus that you should not be picky about your work and you should take everything. That is kind of true, but I think because we're kind of desperate to get to work straight away, and we want to be seen as working, we set out this goal to be an actor or a creative, and lots of people probably thought or told you it's really hard, do you think you're going to do it? And you think yes, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it. You then sort of take projects, or you kind of jump in with both feet to every single project that comes by. And I just kind of wanted to flag that you don't have to always do that. Like, have a bit of like an assessment of what the project is, who's involved, what level are these people at. And like, that doesn't matter if somebody is, really far in their career or at the beginning of their career. You will be at the beginning of your career as well. But just maybe have a look at the script, the type of character you will play, just before jumping in with both feet. Because sometimes you can pick a character where you might not be so comfortable with doing all the things that is required in the script. You sometimes might look at the project and go, what quality does it have? And if it doesn't match the quality that you want to make and want to do, it's, that's gonna last and that's gonna stay with you. And it's not to put you off from any job really, but it's to, have a look at the quality of the work that people do and why they do it. Because like, it's better to have 3 very solid credits that you're very proud of, that you have done good work in, that you really made good connections with the people who were making it, than maybe, you know, like 10 credits of lots of random different things where you go, oh, I just didn't want to do that, or I felt embarrassed doing that, or like, I don't know, like just assess the quality before you take the projects, which I thought was a really good one. And it's one that my partner came up with. And he said, when I first graduated, I, you know, literally took everything that I could. And now I look back and I go, there was no need for me to take that. It added no value to, like, not like value to my CV, but it didn't, you know, sometimes in certain situations it presents more obstacles than opportunities, I think. The next thing is going to be showreels. So again, most people get a showreel given to them or part of a course wherever they do it. So like if you've done an acting course, sometimes you can get a showreel at the end of it. If you've gone to drama school, you almost definitely in third year get a showreel that you can put out to agents or casting directors, you know, whoever. It is not set in stone. Just because you did it at drama school, you can change it. Like I think people go, oh, it's my one shot to get it right. It's not. You can add things to your showreel throughout your entire career. It doesn't matter, you know. Yeah, get a good scene on there, but don't stress about getting lots of things on there as well. Like, yes, you can always change it, you can always add it, but only add stuff that's going to give, again, value to your CV, your profile, and what you do. So there's no point putting, like, you know, you could be asked to be in a music video. And if you're a dancer, that's really good content that you can put on your showreel because you're probably dancing in it. For an actor, it's not that great content because, you know, music videos they're shot in a very different way to films and TV. They have a lot more of an artistic streak going through them. They're focused on the singer, obviously, and the song and all of that stuff. And so the stuff that you do in the background, whether it be, you know, like having an argument with a partner, or I know you see some really weird and wacky things like people turning into zombies or whatever in music videos, that content is not quite the content that you need for your showreel. And like some of you will be listening to this and going, well, obviously I wouldn't do that. But you know, I think you would be surprised at how many people do put stuff like that on. Or there's like a lot of stuff in people's showreels where there's a beautiful like pan of like where the scene starts, like across a park or something like that, where they're like, there's a lovely pan of like, you know, say Hyde Park, and you've got like people walking and it sets the atmosphere and lovely. But actually a casting director or director or agent needs to get to the point of your scene very, very quickly. And so showreels should really be you acting. And I know that sounds a little bit maybe basic and not, you know, creative or as artistic as you want it to be, but it kind of needs to start from the get-go. I have seen a lot of showreels recently which have been shot beautifully, but the main aim of a showreel is to show your acting ability, to show how you interact with someone else, you know, and to present a character. That's kind of, you know, the job of a showreel. It's to give a glimmer of what you can give. So just be a little bit mindful, I think, about, you know, what you put in your showreel. You can change it and you can, you know, but don't overfill it. Don't put loads of stuff in, because, you know, if for example, like if you've been in a music video of someone very famous, you can have that credit on your CV. No one's not going to not see that, but you probably don't need to put it in the showreel, if that makes sense. Another one for me is, and it's actually something that I've learned quite recently, is check your spotlight more regularly. I am so bad at this. Like, again, I think like with the show reel and sometimes the voice reel, singing reel, headshots, you know, we get, as actors, I think we get very focused on the headshot and the show reel. And sometimes maybe a voice reel. And obviously if you're a musical theatre if you're a musical theatre performer, you get very focused on the singing reel. Rightly so, they are the things that you're putting forward. However, how often do you look at your spotlight CV? Because I don't look at it nowhere near as enough. And not that it always needs changing, but having a glance of it at like once every 2 weeks is a really good idea. I think it sets you in that motion of, okay, this looks good. How can we improve it? How can we do something different? And that doesn't mean going, oh, I need new headshots and I need new show reel every 2 weeks. That's not what I'm saying. But like sometimes the layout of your credits can be different. Sometimes that little, there's like an info little box at the top of your credits where, you write something about you. Maybe that changes. Again, obviously this is negotiable with your agent, and some agents let you have free reign over your spotlight profile and some don't. Sometimes they like to sort of like manage that and handle that, and that's fine, but you could still have a look at it. Like with this podcast, I look at my stats every day. Okay, people might be like, well, I'm not going to look at my spotlight every day, and I'm not saying to, because that's a bit ridiculous, because how much from an actor's day-to-day life if it's going to change from day to day. But for me, for example, I always look at the statistics of listenership for this podcast every day, because I want to know who's tuned in. I want to know where they're listening from. I want to know who it's reaching. Always to go, okay, how can we get more listenership? How can I do that? How can I further the podcast? And I think that's not a bad mindset to have for, your acting career. How can we keep going with this? Is it, okay, the spotlight profile looks great. Cool. Can I email it to somebody now because I've changed a slight thing on it? Or is it, this looks great. Is there maybe an accent thing that I can add to my spotlight? Is there, I don't know, like maybe another self-tape that that's good as well? Like it can't just be any old stuff that you're shoving up there, but like, is there quite a really good like self-tape that you've done recently that you go, do you know what, I'm going to add that there for a couple of weeks and see how that does. It's not doing anything. I don't like it anymore. Take it off. Experiment a little bit with your spotlight profile, and it just might tickle the fancy of someone else, because mine is, God, I don't want to admit, but mine is sat there untouched for quite a few months because I've just not been looking at it. But I actually think it would be a good motivator for me to start looking at it more, to be like, okay, how can we change this? Maybe I'll rearrange the headshots. I'll put this one as my main now and see what that looks like. And sometimes you have agents that kind of do that for you, but the majority I don't think do, because obviously they have so many clients to do, and also it's no harm in you changing and doing that as well. Again, just be a little bit mindful that maybe your agent might not like it as much, but that's again a conversation to have with your agent, which lovely segues into my next point of the nervousness and the fearfulness of talking to your agent, or any agent, in fact. And like I see it time and time again now, because I've been in the industry for about 6 years now. I understand that most agents, casting directors, whatever, we're all human beings just trying to pursue a creative avenue. That's all we're doing. And like the more and more people I speak to now, I just go, you're really not as intimidating as I thought you would be. And also they don't want to be seen like that, by the way. They don't want actors to be really fearful and come up to them and be like, please give me this opportunity, or oh, it's okay, is it okay if I do this, if it's okay, no, like calm down. But it's a very genuine fear, especially when it's something that you don't know much about of, and like you just don't know how to interact with these industry professionals, because that's what they are. And some of their credits or what they've been involved in are very daunting, but at the end of the day they started out just like you in some form, and all they want to be treated with is like respect and just normalcy, like normal conversations. And so approaching agents obviously is very, very scary. But once you have your agent, I remember when I got my first agent, and I was really fearful to ask questions. I was really fearful when my first self-tape came in, and I filmed it, I think, portrait. And my agent came back and said, I'm really sorry, but we need it landscape. And they're things that I was like, oh God, like I didn't really think much about of. And we can go into self-tape setup in a minute, but it's like, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's just, you just think that you can't ask any questions. And like, I was really fearful that if I don't do a good job, whatever that might be, because I didn't really know what my job was at that point, that I was going to get dropped. Like, there's this really big fear that you are irritating your agent, or that you are going to get dropped by them if you don't do everything that they ask. They don't want you to behave that way, and you really shouldn't put yourself through it. But I understand it's a very genuine fear, and you want to please them, and they've signed you. But just remind yourself, it worked two ways. Yes, you wanted to sign with this agent, but they also wanted to sign with you. So, you know, give yourself a little bit of credit. It's not like you're, was begging for this person to come on. Like, you were begging for this agent to take you on, and they went, oh, all right then, I suppose I can put you on my client list. They don't do that unless they want you. So it doesn't, so it kind of makes no sense. And so ask the questions to your agent, build up that rapport. Again, there's like a really fine line with it, I think, sometimes, is that people go, well, I need my agent to be like my best friend. No, they're your business partner at the end of the day. And like, if you think that messaging them every day with something that's kind of not really related to acting, I mean, sometimes you can have those relationships, but it takes a little bit of time. It's not when you first like sign with them and you're like, oh, here's a picture of my dog, or here's blah, 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 and all this stuff. And, you know, like, you're business partners at the end of the day. So, like, ask the questions. Don't be fearful. Let them know everything to start with. Like, you know, there's lots of people that have asked me questions recently who have gone, oh, like, there's a project that I really want to work on. They haven't submitted me, but somebody's reached out to me and I want to do that project. And you go, but what's my agent going to say? What are they going to take a cut out of it? Are they going to do all these? Every agent operates differently. So just tell them, go, I really want to do this project. And why would an agent say no? Like, it's a bit crazy if they say no, but like, if you go, I really want to do this project, you know, it might be unpaid, it's profit share, whatever it is, you go, I really want to do it. And they'll assess it with you, and they'll go, okay, how long are you going to be unavailable for? Oh, you know, it's on for a week and I've got sporadic rehearsals. I can guarantee you they'll go, thank you for letting me know, that's fine, take it, go for it. You know, at the start, you're not being annoying, just let them know everything, and you'll soon learn what they need to know and what they don't need to know. Sometimes they might turn around and be like, that's great, thank you for telling me that, but you didn't need to tell me that. So have that open line, don't be fearful, they aren't going to drop you. It's like, especially, they're not going to drop you for like asking, should my self-tape be in portrait or landscape? Do you know what I mean? And generally ask for their feedback. Don't get fearful of, you know, when you send in like self-tapes and they're like, oh, you know, like I've had it before where they've gone, Grace, I like this tape, but I'm wondering if we could do a bit more of this. Fine, absolutely. Okay, we'll do that. And also, this is another thing as well, is that everybody shits themselves when they receive a self-tape. I do it as well. It's really funny. As soon as the self-tape comes in, you go, oh my God. And you panic, you flap, you go, oh my God, I've got to put, my whole life has got to go on hold. You know, very rarely do self-tapes come in nowadays where you have like 24 hours to film. I think I've only ever had that maybe twice in my life, and they were for commercials. And I remember one came in, it was for like the British Heart Foundation, I think. And it was like a casting director that had seen me for like a previous commercial 2 years before. And she went, we really need somebody in quick. So I've just sent it out to people that I know and I trust that they can get it done quickly. And so I basically was like, right, okay. But with a commercial, it's usually 1 or 2 lines, or if that, usually it's like a scenario where you like improv it or whatever. But it's very rare that like a massive TV job or a film job or a theatre job goes, I need it all done within 24 hours. Breathe. You have time. Like, you have time. And then it kind of gets into this. I used to do it as well. I'd get so flappy and anxious that I would rush through the tape. And the tape wasn't going to really be my best work because I was too focused on, I need to get it in. If they've given you a deadline, it's there for a reason. Take the time, make sure that you are filming in landscape, that you have good lighting, that you can hear, that they can hear you, sorry, that they can see you. You know, make sure that you're familiar with the script, that you have some choices to present. Try not to get so, what's the word? Like, try not to get so like wrapped up in your choices as well. Like, usually with self-tapes, my first instinct is usually the best one, because I've read the script multiple times before we've started filming, and then I've gone, yeah, I think this character is like this. It's a very hard skill, because you then have to watch it back and you go, that hasn't conveyed properly, or oh my god, what if they actually wanted the character like this, what if they wanted the character like that. You can't think like that, unfortunately, because you don't have the director right there going, oh, actually what I wanted was this. You have to trust your instincts and what you think the choices and the characteristics are for this character, and go boldly. That's my biggest advice, is that go boldly, because if you keep like umming and ahhing, you do this wishy-washy performance where it's half this way and half the other way, and then you're like, you watch it back and you're like, there's no clear character there, there's no clear circumstances or choices there. And then you kind of send it off because you're in a rush as well, and it's not your best work. So, you know, it again, there's like a few myths that people go like, oh, you have to get the tape in as quickly as possible. If you can get the tape in quickly as possible and it's really good work, good for you. But I can guarantee you that most people, if they send it in willy-nilly, like very, very quick off the bat, it's not going to be your best work. So, you know, they've given you a deadline for a reason. Use it. You know, if you can get it in, you know, half a day before that, fantastic. But don't stress so much about the self-tapes, because if you put it this way, like when you go to an in-person audition, they don't go, oh, get there a day before, do they? They're willing to see you all on this day. And I can guarantee you that they're very busy. So they will view them all in one day. And they're not going to like do a cut-off where they're like, because they've specifically asked to see you. It's different with submissions, but like they've specifically asked to see your tape. So they're going to watch it. We're going to slightly go a little bit off acting. And this is just a general view of what, or maybe some advice to people who are maybe leaving to go to drama school, or, you know, just moving away in general from their family home to pursue their creative venture. And the advice I'm going to give, and the mistakes I made, I think are going to be quite clear for you to learn from. And it's, moving away from home is really, really hard. Like it's really hard. And I was such a home bird before I moved away. And, you know, I moved from a village in the Midlands, East Midlands, where, and I've described it before like this, is that I described my village as Hot Fuzz. If you've seen that film, which most people definitely have. Everybody knows everyone's business. Everybody knows mothers, daughters, cousins, sons, fathers, all of that stuff. Everybody knows everybody. And when I got into a drama school, which number one was very unlikely, but I did, and I was moving to London, I was completely I was completely taken out of my comfort zone. Somewhere very small, quiet, rural to London. And it was really scary because you go there alone. Like, this is the hardest thing, is that if I moved, say, with my mum, with my dad, or, you know, with a friend or whatever, you have a little bit of stability there. You have somebody there, I suppose. When you move away from home, it's really scary. And like, you are completely on your own. And I can remember still walking into halls, and you're moving your stuff about and you're setting your stuff in the kitchen, and random people just come in and they live there then. And you're like, hi. They're like, hi, I'm so-and-so. And it's a very awkward encounter, but you're expected to live with them straight away. And that's what I think is so bizarre. Like, you don't know these people. I was in a flat of 6 and you share a kitchen and you are expected to just live there with these people. It's so weird. It's so weird. And so I think my advice for this is, you know, like, just acknowledge that it's weird, that you've moved away from home, that you're going off to do this creative venture. It's for the right reasons. It's very scary. It's very exciting. But you can acknowledge how weird it is. It's very, very strange to meet a load of strangers and live in this flat. And then also you start a course that's very, very intense with another a group of people who are fantastic, but you don't know any of them either. And so, like, I think maybe my advice is that try and bring as many home comforts with you as possible. Like, tips for me were, I remember sitting in my room in halls and my brother had rung me and he said, "How are you finding it?" And I was like, "I find it so weird because I'm just sat in this room being like, what the hell do I do now?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's really normal. You're okay," all that stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, but do I go out and speak to people? People aren't, you know, people are still moving their stuff in." And he was like, "Have you unpacked?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've unpacked." And he was like, "Okay, does your room feel cozy?" And I was like, "I don't know, it just doesn't really feel cozy, like it doesn't really feel like home." And he was like, "Okay, is there a Primark near you?" And I was like, "Yes, yeah, there is." He goes, "All right, you're going to go to Primark. You're going to go get a load of candles," even though you weren't really allowed candles in halls. But anyway, he was like, "You're going to go get candles. You're going to go get a throw. You're going to go get those pointless pillows that nobody has anything for, but they're just decoration." I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Go get that. Set up your TV and put your TV on and put, like, my comfort show is Friends." So he was like, "And put that on. I guarantee you'll feel so much better." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And he was like, "Have you got tea?" Which my family are big tea drinkers. And I was like, "No, I actually don't have any tea bags." And he was like, "What are you doing? Make sure that you've got you've got tea bags in there." This is such a British thing, by the way. And I was like, "Okay." He was like, "You need to have like a hot drink or something, like even if it's like hot chocolate or whatever." He's like, "Go get yourself some tea bags and go get stuff from Primark." And I did that. And honestly, he was right. Like, by the time I got home, got to my new home and I'd set everything up, I was in bed with my, you know, throws and pillows, and candle was on and a cup of tea was in hand and Friends was on. I felt 10 times better. So much better. Yeah, so that's my advice, I think, for moving away. Another tip for obviously like moving away and moving out and stuff, I found that it was easier to live with people who weren't on my acting course. This might not always be the case for some people, but I lived with people who were like photographers, or another one was a musical theatre student. Actually, two of them were musical theatre students, but it was kind of like, it was nice to have a break from my acting class. As wonderful as they all are, I think it's a really good tip to try and have a little bit of downtime from that. I mean, sometimes it's not always possible, or like you obviously make really, really great friends with people on your acting course and you want to live with them. But if anyone's been to drama school, I feel like that resonates quite well, is that like drama school is very intense and you spend a lot of time with each other in scenes, exercises, rehearsals. You know, you are with them 24/7. So make sure that, you know, in second year or third year, whenever you start living with people that aren't, you know, the people that you were designated to live with in halls or whatever, pick wisely, because that will also change your experience, and like you want to focus on your studies and you want to focus on that. So that, I feel like that is a good tip, but it might not be the same rule for everyone, but that's definitely how I felt. And it's not to say that I didn't love everybody on my course, because I definitely did, and they're some of my lifelong friends from that course. But I don't know, it's healthy to have time away from even the people that you love closest, and so that's what I thought was a really, really good tip on that front. Okay, so let's step away now from young Grace and first immersion to the industry. The things that I learned that maybe people don't tell you, there's very few things, very small things, I suppose is the right word, is when you go to auditions for the first time, you're really scared. Like my first audition, I was so nervous. And my first audition also went terribly, by the way. And I've mentioned it on a previous episode, is that my first ever audition, I was given a 17-page script on the day, wasn't given it beforehand, and was expected to just read through it, perform 2 monologues from it, and I was also supposed to deliver the whole of the 17 pages with 2 other actors halfway through the day. Well, I'll say halfway through the day. That I think the whole audition was like 2 hours long, and they gave us like, I think, about 20 minutes to prepare this 17-page script with 2 other actors that I hadn't met. So in terms of first auditions, it was a really bad one. and like, I think it's also extremely rare that they happen like that, but it was for a pantomime, so I don't know, there was a lot of crazy requirements for that one. But you know what really threw me off when I first went to an audition, or a different audition, is like, I went to this commercial audition, and it's all the little things that throw you off, like, can you please stand on the mark? Can you show me your profiles? Which is literally like showing your face front on, showing your face from the side, from the other side, your hands front and back, and a full body shot, I think. But obviously, like, you're very overwhelmed and it's a very new experience for you. So sometimes, I mean, I luckily did know what profiles were, but some people might not. And so that, but even me knowing it still kind of threw me off in that first commercial audition setting. Another thing that people don't tell you, which I don't know, is that threw me off as well, is that, like, you know, when you go to an audition, they give you this sheet to fill out, and the sheet has like loads of questions on it, which can be really random. So like they're like, can you please put your spotlight pin in? Now, as a first graduate or a first time person in the industry who's maybe only recently got spotlight, I don't know what that is off by heart. And then it's like, give us your agent's name. Obviously, you'll know that. The name of the agency. What else do they ask? Oh, like stuff like, obviously, if you've been in anything previous before, like any previous TV, film stuff that they need to be aware of for, like, I don't know, for lots of different reasons. And, you know, it might be saying like, do you have a driving license? If that's like part of it, and what's your driving license number? Again, for like European tours, they might ask for like, do you have a valid passport? Yeah, and there's like lots of these little things that kind of slip you up, and like when you're already going into an atmosphere that you don't really know much about of, and then you're sat in this waiting room, and they expect you to do it very, very quickly, by the way. And sometimes they're like, what's your agent's email address? What's your agent's like actual address, you know, in London? Like, what's their office address? And you have to go and find all these things out before you're about to go in. And some people might think this is a really good distraction, maybe from their nerves. But for me, it freaked me out because I was like, oh God, I didn't know I had to sign this. And you're going in like 2 minutes. And so then you have to find and fill everything else out. I don't know. It was something that really kind of nobody told me about, but it like kind of threw me. And I don't really know why. Maybe people listening to this will be like, Grace, you're just a paranoid person. But there's, there was stuff like that. And then I was also doing like my first like student film I did. And they did, they did everything by the book because I guess they're still learning as well. And they did like a crew show. Again, this is something that I didn't know that they did. And you do your, and also I've been on other sets where they haven't done a crew show. So a crew show is basically what it says is that everybody from the crew will come and watch the scene before they start filming so that they can set up where the camera will be, lights, if there's anything additional that they need to know of. Yeah, like there's loads of random things why they probably would watch it, and I'm probably butchering it because I don't really know that side of things. But yeah, when I did my first sort of student film, we rehearsed a lot, obviously, with the director and this other actor in this room before we went on to set, and they just literally shouted, okay, crew show. And when I say crew show, like it was a lot of people coming to just stand and watch you. And I know they're watching you for very different reasons, but again, first job, and you're thinking, oh God, are they all going to think I'm a crap actor? Like that was one thing that was going through my head. And so I hope that maybe gives somebody a little bit of a heads up that those things might happen. And it sounds really stupid to say to an actor, oh, by the way, people might watch you act. But you just think, well, I'm going to look at my partner. I won't really be aware of everything else. But on a film set, you're very, very aware of everybody. I think because of the close proximity and all the equipment and the camera is like really looking at you. And so all those things kind of add up and they do kind of put you off. Well, they did for me anyway, definitely. My last point is, before we wrap up, is knowledge is kind of everything. And I think, again, my younger self thought, when I graduated drama school, I've been taught for 3 years, I know everything. I don't. I still don't now. And hence why this podcast was created. But there is, I don't know, like, you seem to think because you've been trained for 3 years, you must be an expert in this thing. And it's really just the beginning. Like, knowledge is everything. Maybe when you first graduate, the last thing that you want to do is start reading more acting books or reading or listening to podcasts and things like that. And I was like that. For the first 6 months, I was so ready to get out of drama school and just live a bit more of a normal life that wasn't so intense. And I loved working at this retail shop and, you know, having my own sense of money and going to some exciting auditions and all that stuff. But then I think when lockdown happened, which was 6 months after I graduated, I was suddenly in this position where, like, you know, life was taking a very different turn. And so I then started to build a pool of knowledge from different sides of things. Like, you know, over lockdown, lots of people, casting directors, agents, because they were all we were all out of work, they were offering a lot of really useful advice. Like, I was going to some voiceover online sessions about how to promote your voiceover career, or agents were just doing random chats just to help people out and how to, you know, contact an agent. Those things are really, really useful. And it's not always just about the physical act of acting. Knowledge is everything. And there is a book or a podcast literally on anything. Like, if you want to learn more about the business side of it or how a business works, there's skills that you can transfer onto your acting business. Like, there is always, you know, like, just try and collect as much information as possible. And I think the way that you do that, obviously, it's like reading books and listening to podcasts. And you don't have to just listen to this podcast. There are many other podcasts with famous actors on that you can go and listen to. But again, like, YouTube has a lot of really great advice. Like, there's so many YouTube videos on how to set up your self-tape setup. I never even thought about doing that. Like, you know, I just thought, I'll just get on with it and I know what I'm doing. No, you don't know. So just go and look it up. And what's the harm if you listen to something that you already know? Then you definitely know that you know it. So yeah, that's my last point, is take everything, you know, be a bit like a sponge for a while. I'm still like that. I'm still learning all the time, and I'm nowhere near an expert in this career at all. But I'm hoping that you know, the more guests you get on or whatever, or the more times you talk about it or talk with other people, the more you get to know. And so I hope it hasn't been too waffly. I fear that it might have, but we'll see what it's like in the editing room. But yeah, I think they're all my just little tips, really. I know I said, like, they're mistakes that I have learnt from maybe to begin with, but actually they're just tips at the end of the day. And take them, don't take them, learn from them, don't learn from them. You know, some of them you probably already know. But that kind of concludes this episode. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.